Hi YouTube. I did a little bit and noticed that it wasn't recording, so we're using Lorella Witch's Brew palette, and we're using Possessed, this pretty bluish purpley, and it does have sparkle, but I guess the camera's not picking it up. My eyelash keeps getting stuck in the wrong places. Also, if my voice goes loud or soft, I still can't hear from this ear, so I just want you to know that if my voice goes funny and I'm either too loud or too soft, it's because I can't hear. I guess I'm gonna have to go to the doctor. It's been like 2 weeks. Okay, this one's coming off, so I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm just so tired of the medical profession. I don't want to see any of them. I guess I'm gonna have to. Dang. Okay, where did I put the glue? I just had it right in front of me. There you are. Okay. I've had nothing but trouble with this lash. I'm going to pause you while I do this. Okay, hopefully I got it. I just paused you because I'm limited on time again. Hopefully it won't be sticking to places that it shouldn't be sticking. It's been a pain. All right, let's get back to it. Back to Possessed. There it goes. So today would have been our 6th year wedding anniversary. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about how we met and got together and all that stuff. Stop doing that. So my friend had introduced us, not in person. He gave my husband my phone number, and my husband called, and like immediately there was something about his voice. I just felt so comfortable and, you know, okay, and he said he felt the same. And we talked, and we had no problem talking, which is very unusual for me because I'm extremely shy in person or on the phone, you know, if I don't know you. And he was a bit of the same. And I'm going to use Jaclyn Hill JH, I think it's, yeah, 32, just to blend a little bit. What was I saying? Oh, and he was shy too. And so we talked, and, you know, he'd send me like good morning text and stuff. And I told you before that he had a bit of a rough past. And so I realized that since he knew my friend, that there was probably how do I say it? A problem with something. I'm not purposely trying to be vague, but Well, there were alcohol issues. And when I started talking to him, he'd been sober for 2 years, I believe. And he was telling me that the reason why he drank was because he was, doing the self-medicating thing. And I told you he had major depression issues. And he went to rehab, went for a full year. He said that he just wanted to, start his life over, give his life over to people that knew what they were doing and teach him everything again, even how to tie his shoes, not literally, but he wanted to, just have a clean slate, no, no, oh, I can't do it your way, I got to do it my way kind of thing. He just, gave himself over to it. And, okay, I think I went a little too far. So he stayed there a year and did everything, that he said he was going to do. And, I don't know if I want to use that. That gets kind of, let me see. See if I can get it off without anything. So he got out of rehab and started his life and doing good, stayed sober and had no issues. And he was diagnosed with bipolar depression and in rehab. So they started him on depression medication and, got that whole situation figured out. And as soon as he got on the medication, he said he never, had an urge to drink again. It just wasn't there anymore. I'm going to take just a tiny bit of broomstick just to kind of blend it in there. So like I said, he got out of rehab and by the way, there was no law issue involved. He didn't, have to go for any reason other than he wanted to go. So he got out and got a roommate and, got a job and doing great. And 2 years later, we started talking. And he told me, that I could be confident that there weren't going to be any relapses and all that kind of stuff. But I never dealt with that stuff before, so I got a little worried. I had no idea about any of that, especially the mental health aspect. I mean, I have, depression, but I didn't know really anything about bipolar and all that stuff. Trying to find my wipes because I got fallout. So, of course, I went and Googled stuff. Not a good idea. And I pretty much scared myself right out of that. So I told my friend, I'm really sorry. I really liked him, but I just cannot open myself and my family up to that, I just not okay with it. And so he went ahead and told him, and I guess, I didn't know it at the time, but okay, we're going to use Urban Decay Perversion Mascara, but he was pretty hurt by it. And I felt awful, because I'm not like a judgmental person, and I still don't think I was judgmental. I was just in a situation that was completely unknown to me and scary. And it's like he always told me, because I apologized for years and years after that. You know, he said, you were trying to keep yourself and your son safe, and you know, you can't apologize for that. And you know, he told me he understood and all that stuff. This was later when we got together. And so he sent me like a text and said, you know, that everything was going so good. And I sent one back and I said, I know, I'm sorry, you know. And so we didn't talk again for, well, I don't know, a year, I think a year. And then he got on Facebook. He hadn't been on that before. And I saw, you know, that he was on there. And I didn't, you know, do anything at first, but because I felt so bad for what I'd done, I sent him a message and I told him, you know, I'm very sorry for what happened. You know, I explained I was scared. I, you know, didn't know anything about the situations and, you know, just all that kind of stuff. And he was very grateful for my apology. And so we became Facebook friends. And, you know, I started noticing that he was just a really nice person, you know. And so we just, you know, we talked on Facebook, and I noticed like one time he hadn't been on for like 4 or 5 days. So I sent him a message and he said, how are you? I noticed that you're not on Facebook lately. And he told me, you know, that he was going through depression. And so I gave him a little pep talk, you know, and he appreciated that. And then my mom was diagnosed with 3 types of cancer. And we had to go to another city to live, my mom and I, for, it was supposed to be 6 weeks, but it ended up being 3 months. And I was a wreck eventually. I'm using Aspen highlighter palette. I'm using Frosted AF. So we were going through my mom's treatments. I'm just going to use my finger. And they get a thing called chemo brain. And they don't really think clearly. It's almost like dementia or Alzheimer's. Things are just all jumbled up, and just sometimes they just don't know what they're doing, you know. And she'd been through treatment for, I think, around 3 weeks, and she suddenly decided that she wasn't going to do treatment anymore. And I was just losing my mind, literally. I broke down, and I'm going to use Black Cat along the top lash line. And I mean, I was just a mess. And I went outside and got in the car, and I called my friend that had set us up, and I told him my mom says she just wants to die. She doesn't want treatment, and, you know, and I'm barely able to speak. And he told me that when the time comes, the will to fight and let me pick that up, and the will to live will kick in, and she'll, change her mind. But I wasn't sure I believed it. And because it was just my mom and I was taking care of her, and we had like no sleep. Take it out a little bit in this outer corner. I'm just trying to thicken it up here. And like I was just mentally torn up and exhausted, and I mean, I can't even explain. It was hell. And she was ending up in the hospital for pneumonia and all this stuff, and it was just scary. And like I said, I was by myself, and my family were judging me, and it was just a bad situation. These people that were, telling me everything I was doing was wrong, they never showed up. They never volunteered to help, But that's a whole other story. This person is a very not nice person, but we're not going to get into that. And so what am I looking for? There you are. I'm going to use NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop concealer under my eyes. And like I said, I was just having horrible mental health. And so I would write about it on Facebook and block, certain people that didn't want to read it. And it was very, what would you call it? Forthright and honest, and, I held nothing back, I had to get it out. It was awful time. So my husband, friend at the time, who was reading all this, and he'd send me encouraging messages, and, he was just there for me where my family wasn't, and my friends, I had friends say that they were going to come and see me and my mom, and then they never show up, and, stuff like that. I'm going to go back into Black Cat, and so this kept on, my husband and I, and then we started talking on the phone a lot, and messaging, and, all that kind of stuff. And I started really, really liking him and thinking he was just awesome. Back to mascara. And he sent me a message one day and said, I think I need to talk to you. And I said, okay. And so he phoned me and told me he loved me. And I told him I love him too. And so it went from there. Like, I don't remember how long. I don't think it was very long at all. But him and my friend drove up to see my mom and I. And, it just is Revlon Color Stay Full Coverage Foundation. And I'm going to spray my foundation brush with Lasting Fix. And so he came up there, and I mean, it was pretty much a blizzard. He drove through to come and see me. And my friend, when he saw me, he said, Dawn, this man must really love you, because I'm sorry, but I'm not going to drive myself through a blizzard to come and see anybody. And he was telling me how my friend had to keep getting out, and he was telling me how my husband had to keep getting out and like doing snow chains and all this stuff, and and so they got there. My mom and I were staying at a cancer center, the same place that my husband went to. And I remember he told me they're in the parking lot, and I opened the door, and I just see this man and this beautiful, beautiful smile on his face. And I said to myself, uh-oh, you're in trouble. We're going to use Revolution Ultra Cream Contour Palette. I'm going to use this one. And sure enough, I was in trouble. We sat down, and my friend he's like really sentimental, my friend. So he took our first picture together. I'll probably post it in the community thing. I don't know if I posted it before, but we'll do it again. And so my friend had a hotel room in this other place, and so they asked me if I wanted to go there. My friend was gonna do some gambling and go out to dinner and all this stuff. So I said sure. So we went and stayed the night. My friend and my husband and I in the same room. Nothing weird going on. Maybelline Express Brow in Blonde. And it was like we knew each other forever, and we were just extremely close already. And the next day we all woke up and went and got some coffee, went to see my mom, and she immediately knew who he was without an introduction, because we just walked in the room, and she said, "Well, hello, Pat." And of course she knew my friend. My friend is very funny. He has an awesome sense of humor, as did my husband. So they had my mom laughing and having a good time, which I really, really appreciated that to no end, as I'm sure you can know. Maybelline Cheek Heat. I'm sorry if I'm not really, introducing the products. I just mainly wanted to talk about my husband. And so we stayed there for a while. She got in a wheelchair. She was at I don't think I said this, at a rehabilitation place to get stronger, because she had that pneumonia and stuff, and they didn't know, if I would be able to lift her up if she had a fall or anything. So even though I was dead set against it, because to me, I thought like convalescent center, and I just And anyway, long story to that one too. They arranged for her. Well, I finally agreed. My mom said she wanted to do it, and so I agreed, and they had arranged for her to go to this other place. But our friends who we became friends with at the cancer center said, do not let her go there. They're awful. So I went back to the coordinator, the patient advocate, and told them, I've heard nothing but bad about this place, and I do not want my mother going there. Arrested AF again. And so they asked me why, and I told them. And so they arranged for her to go to this other place, which our friends had told me about, said that it was a really good place, So she went there, And so she got in her wheelchair and took us on a tour. She was like so proud of me because I got her into this place. And, they were really helping her. And using Lorella as if. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave this, if it shows up enough. And showing us the exercises that they had her doing and all this stuff. And she was just so proud and happy. And so eventually we left and we went around this town because my friend wanted to look at stuff, and he always wants to explore everything. I'm trying to see if I should put a lipstick on with this or not. So we explored the town, and my husband and I, we just held hands and stuff. And so we got back to the cancer center eventually before they were going to leave, and my husband just held me and said, I want you to remember this when you're feeling lonely here. And of course I did. And then from then on, everything progressed, and he moved in. June or July. And then I believe it was November. We were in my room, and, I'd been taking care of my mom. She was here. And, I was pretty worn out and just, from everything because it was stressful and, I don't know if I should stop it now and continue tomorrow or what, because we're at 27 minutes. Well, let me try to make it quick. I hate when you're left hanging. So we were in my bedroom and we were watching my English shows that are on Saturday night. And that was Doc Martin. We were watching, and I loved that show. And then he all of a sudden gets up and he walks over to the bed and he says, Dawn Marie, will you marry me? And I laughed. I was laughing, and he looked at me, like, why are you laughing? And I said, are you serious? I thought he was joking, And he said, no, I'm serious. Will you marry me? And I, of course, said yes. And, it wasn't like this great grand proposal, but I'm not, a showy, big, grand kind of girl. And I just completely appreciated it because the circumstances and him proposing to me during one of my English shows and just everything. It was so sweet, and I will hopefully never forget it. So next day we told my mom, and she was just elated. She knew, that we were going to be married sometime. And one time I posted a picture. My friend wanted to do something as a joke. So we were at another friend's wedding, and we were standing in an arbor, I think it's called. And friend took the picture. My husband and I were holding hands, and it looked like we just got married or something, And my mom calls me up. She said, did you get married? And I said, no, Mom, it was a joke. And she was telling me, don't you dare get married without me. So, at that point, my mom's health was just declined, and it was, we got married December 10th. She passed away December 23rd. And before she passed, she said, "Now I don't have to worry. You have him. And I always knew that the two of you were going to be married." And my husband and I were talking, and we realized that there was a possibility that if we didn't get married soon, that my mom might not be there. So we went to the courthouse and asked them what was their first available date, and they said December 10th. So that was when we got married. And my mom was just so happy that she could be there. It meant the world to her. Okay, well, let me see about getting you out. I'm not going to do a product review because we're at 31 minutes now, and I mainly just wanted to come on and do makeup and chat about how I got married. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Like I said, I'm not gonna do a product review. I only have a few minutes left. It's counting me down. Well, thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. Bye.